Subhash Chandra Show.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the US.
And I will be here at the WION headquarters, getting you all the action from the universe of sport. All that you need to know about your favorite teams and players, right here.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of.
A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA.
Join the conversation.
This week on Tech It Out, we explain why Apple is walking a privacy tightrope with its big AI move. We tell you what parents can do to keep their children safe on social media. And we take you inside a humanoid robot factory. This and more on WION World is One at these times.
Hello and a very warm welcome. It's 9 p.m. IST and we are coming to you live from the WION headquarters in Noida, India. I am Molly Kampir and you're watching Gravitas. Let's get started. Will the next war be fought in Tibet? We tell you all about the rising tensions between the United States and China on Tibet. And that's our top story tonight, coming up shortly. Here's a look at what else is lined up for you on the show. It's the new threat to Israel from Iraq. We tell you about the warning from the head of Iraq's Harakat Hezbollah al-Nujaba and what it means for the entire region. A proposed class action accuses Apple of paying more than 12,000 female employees in California less than men with comparable jobs. The lawsuit claims the company systematically underpays female workers in its engineering, marketing and Apple Care divisions. We get you the complete story. We also get you a special report focusing on Hong Kong's real estate crisis. All this and more coming up shortly. Will the next war be fought in Tibet? There are silent developments pointing at rising tensions between the United States and China on Tibet. Let's start off with the very latest. Reports saying American lawmakers will soon be meeting the Dalai Lama in India. The Dalai Lama, as most of you already know, is the spiritual leader of Tibet. He has been living in exile in Dharamsala since fleeing Lhasa in 1959. Dharamsala is now the seat of the Tibetan government in exile. And Dharamsala is where a US bipartisan delegation will soon be headed to. Look at who all are a part of this delegation. There is a Republican Congressman, Michael McCaul, also former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. They will be meeting the Dalai Lama in Dharamsala. And this meeting is expected to happen on either the 18th of June or the 19th. Now, why is this significant, you ask? You see, China wants to not just continue controlling Tibet, but also control the institution of the Dalai Lama. The Tibetans believe in reincarnation. It's called Tulku. As the 88-year-old Dalai Lama ages, China is more interested than ever on his succession. China claims that the Tulku system can operate only with Beijing's approval. In fact, have a look at this article published by the Chinese mouthpiece Global Times. It tries to sell a lie that China alone has the right to approve the successor of the Dalai Lama. Now, at one point, the article claims, and I'm quoting here, for years, the Dalai Lama himself has been making lies to fool people who are not clear about history and the facts. The highest authority on the issue of the Dalai succession does not belong to anyone but is within the authority of the central government, quote unquote. That's Chinese propaganda. Let's talk about the facts now. As per Tibetan tradition, it is the duty of the Panchen Lama to identify the reincarnation of the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama leaves instructions before his death, helping with the search for his successor. The Panchen Lama is supposed to identify the successor. The Panchen Lama is the second highest spiritual leader in Tibetan Buddhism, and he is currently missing. China kidnapped the 11th Panchen Lama days after he was identified. This was back in 1995. The 11th Panchen Lama, Gedhon Choeki Nema, was all of 6 years old. China not only abducted him, but also his parents and his teacher. No one has heard from or seen the Panchen Lama in 29 years. China was quick to replace the Panchen Lama with their own candidate. So you see what's going on here? China is and has been systematically destroying Tibetan institutions. It has been framing laws to suffocate Tibetan traditions. For instance, under Chinese law, all reincarnated lamas must register with the government. Beijing also has been spewing hate. Chinese officials have vilified the Dalai Lama, called him splittist. Even a wolf in monk's clothing, quote unquote. And why do you think that is? Because Beijing sees the Dalai Lama as a threat. The Dalai Lama has been campaigning for Tibetan autonomy, also the right of the Tibetans to exercise their religion, the right to exercise their religion, preserve their culture, institutions and beliefs. China has also been spreading disinformation. In the year 2021, a Global Times article falsely claimed all previous Dalai Lamas were born in China. This is not true. The fourth Dalai Lama, Yonten Gyatso, was born in Mongolia. The sixth Dalai Lama, Sangyang Gyatso, was an ethnic Mopa from India's Arunachal Pradesh. So, what you have here is China spreading disinformation around Tibet, so much so that American lawmakers have now passed a bill that challenges Chinese disinformation on Tibet. We told you all about it on the show yesterday. What do you think explains this bipartisan support for Tibet? What do you think explains that Tibet has suddenly been brought to the front from the back burner? Is something changing? Is it all building up to something big? The US lawmakers are meeting the Dalai Lama in India. Remember, India did not have a Chinese ambassador for 18 months. All is not well, because now you also have India reportedly renaming 30 places in Tibet. This is in retaliation to China renaming places in India's Arunachal Pradesh. In fact, last week, the spokesperson of China's US embassy said that Beijing, quote-unquote, firmly opposes any anti-China separatist activities conducted by Dalai in any capacity or name in any country, and opposes any forms of contact by officials of any country with him, quote-unquote. But come next week, US officials will be contacting the Dalai Lama. It will be happening in India's Dharamsala, and we will, of course, be keeping you on top of those developments. Shifting focus for now. Look at what Israel is dealing with at this point. Hezbollah rockets, Houthi missiles are a challenge already. The question is Benjamin Netanyahu now looking at a fresh threat? Let me tell you what we are talking about. The head of Iraq's Harakat Hezbollah al-Nujaba has reportedly warned that any foolish act by the Israeli regime would be met with a harsh response against both Israel and the US. Just for context here, Harakat Hezbollah al-Nujaba is a US-designated terrorist organization in Iraq. Let me tell you what the message was. In a message on his X account, Sheikh Ali al-Asadi reaffirmed that the Iraqi Islamic resistance will remain a support and an ally for the Palestinian cause. Not just that, al-Asadi warned against the Israeli occupation committing any foolish acts against individuals or positions in Iraq, stressing that any such foolishness from the Israeli occupation, quote-unquote, would be met with a harsh response to the Israelis and Americans. So basically, it has issued a call to join Hezbollah's campaign against Israel in a way. You see, Hezbollah has already upped the ante. Let me tell you all about Hezbollah's coordinated attack on Israel. Hezbollah said it had launched rockets and weaponized drones at 9 Israeli military sites. The attacks were carried out in retaliation for an Israeli strike on Tuesday that killed a senior Hezbollah field commander. In the early hours of Friday, a strike on a building east of the port city of Tyre left 1 civilian woman dead and more than a dozen wounded, many of them children, according to 2 Lebanese security sources. Asked about the incident, the Israeli military said it was looking into it. Hezbollah said in a statement earlier that it had fired volleys of Katyusha and Falak rockets at 6 Israeli military locations. Its Al-Manar television reported that more than 100 rockets were fired at once. That's not all. Earlier, a suspicious aerial target identified off the coast of Haifa in northern Israel was shot down by air defenses, according to the military. The IDF added that no sirens were sounded, according to protocol, and there were no damage or injuries. Meanwhile, tensions are on the rise at the sea as well. Yemen's Houthi rebels launched 2 anti-ship cruise missiles and struck a commercial ship on Thursday in the Gulf of Aden off Yemen, setting it on fire and severely injuring 1 civilian mariner. According to the Houthis' military spokesman, Yahya Sariyah, the Houthis targeted the Verbena ship in the Arabian Sea and Sea Guardian ship and Athena ship in the Red Sea. In fact, Sariyah said the ship Verbena was hit directly, leading to a fire breaking out on board. The US military said a mariner was severely injured after 2 anti-ship cruise missiles launched by Yemen's Houthis struck a Ukrainian-owned vessel in the Gulf of Aden. As per the US military central command, in fact, the bulk cargo carrier, Verbena, reported damage and subsequent fires on board, which the crew was continuing to fight, adding that the injured mariner was medically evacuated from the ship. Earlier, the Houthis on Wednesday took responsibility for small watercraft and missile attacks that left a Greek-owned cargo ship taking on water and in need of rescue near Yemen's Red Sea port of Hodeidah. The Houthis said the Tutor coal carrier was seriously damaged and vulnerable to sinking after they targeted the vessel with an unmanned surface boat, drones, and ballistic missiles. And according to the US Central Command, missiles fired by Yemen's Houthis struck the Palo-flagged Verbena cargo ship in the Gulf of Aden, sparking a fire and severely injuring one of the crew. The Houthis, remember, have attacked international shipping in the Red Sea since November in solidarity with the Palestinians in the war between Israel and Hamas. Thursday's attack marked their second direct hit on a merchant ship in 2 days. And the group said its campaign would continue until hostilities in the Gaza Strip end. And that, by the way, looks like it's nowhere close to happening. Let me tell you what the US President Joe Biden has said. He doesn't expect to seal a Gaza ceasefire deal in the near future. There was a discussion on the Israel-Hamas war at the G7 summit taking place in Italy. Biden has called Hamas the biggest hang-up to a deal on Gaza and the hostage release. What happens here onwards is anybody's guess. Close on the heels of a series of terror attacks over the last week in India's Jammu and Kashmir region, security agencies are facing a fresh challenge now. Terror groups in the valley are using difficult-to-detect liquid improvised explosive devices, IEDs. Top police sources say the liquid improvised explosive devices were recently recovered from an apple orchard in South Kashmir's Pulwama district. It was revealed that the two terrorists had prepared the IEDs that were subsequently recovered from a man identified as Shakir Bashir, who hid it in the orchard. The local police recently gunned down Lashkar terrorists Riyaz Dar and Rais Dar in an operation. The encounter had led them to a group of over-the-ground workers in the same district from whom the police recovered two IEDs weighing 6 kilograms. The terror groups in the valley have often changed their strategies in recent times, but many terrorists, foreign terrorists, still remain and are mostly active in the Jammu region. They cross the line of control or the international border and directly reach the Rajouri-Poonch area that also becomes the first area of attack. And according to the top police official, the forensic teams are working on the findings of the IEDs destroyed in the orchard. The liquid IED is either tonitrotoluene, TNT, or nitroglycerine. Hong Kong's property market, a long-time symbol of its financial strengths, is facing a significant downturn. This decline also coincides with a period of social and political unrest, raising concerns about its future as a leading financial hub. Our next report telling you more.
Hong Kong's property market, once a symbol of the city's prosperity, is experiencing a dramatic downturn. Home prices have plunged 29% since their 2019 peak, marking a 5-year decline. The slump coincides with a period of social and political unrest, leading to an exodus of expats and a decline in business confidence. Analysts predict a further 5% drop in residential property prices this year, with office rents also expected to fall significantly. The property market downturn in Hong Kong is a complex issue with several contributing factors. Rising interest rates, a slowdown in global economic growth, and changing work habits have all played a role. However, a key factor in the erosion of confidence in Hong Kong's future as a leading financial center. The city's strict COVID-19 policies and ongoing geopolitical tensions with the West have discouraged international investment, leading many multinational companies to re-evaluate their presence in Hong Kong. The property market slump is having a ripple effect on the city's economy. Real estate agents are struggling with the number of agents falling to a 6-year low in May. Developers are cutting prices for new projects, and distressed Chinese companies are offloading properties at significant discounts. The government is attempting to reverse the downward trend by relaxing property curbs and introducing talent programs to attract investments. However, the long-term outlook for Hong Kong's property market remains uncertain. Business Bureau, WION World is One.
Let's now look at the record tally in Indian stocks, marking a strong recovery from the election results day loss. After near $400 billion wipeout on the voting count day, Indian shares recovered those losses in just 3 days. That is the fastest pace of recovery in the last decade. Indian stocks closed higher on Friday, extending the gains from previous 2 sessions. The blue chip Sensex index rose as high as 77,081 before ending at 76,549. The broader Nifty 50 index closed at a new record high of 23,466. Since Friday last week, stocks have hit fresh record highs in 5 of the 6 sessions. Benchmark indices hit new intraday highs for the second consecutive day in the previous session. On Thursday, the Sensex index closed at a new all-time high of 76,811 after hitting an intraday live high of 77,145. In the previous session, the Nifty index also rose to a fresh record high of about 23,481, breaching the live high of 23,442 hit on Wednesday.
Markets like continuity of policies, a stable political environment, and growth. And that's what the markets cheered in the last few days. But having said that, the valuations are still very expensive if you're looking at the small cap and the mid cap side of the market. And I think we should see a correction.
This week, trading volume in Indian stocks climbed to a record amid a strong recovery in broader market and foreign buying. According to Bloomberg data, the 10-day moving average volume on the country's 2 exchanges rose to $21 billion on Wednesday. This marked a jump of about 50% over the past month. Just to put that into context, the trading volume was in the $6 to $10 billion range between mid-2022 and December last year. Indian stocks got over the election shock at the fastest pace as domestic investors used the sell-off last week as an opportunity to buy the dip. The Nifty index sank almost 6% on the 4th of June after Prime Minister Modi's alliance won a surprisingly slim majority. But the index recouped that loss in the next 3 sessions. And that is the fastest recovery from a drop of more than 5% in the last decade. The previous fastest was 9 days to recover 13% loss in March 2020.
Volatility was high due to conflicting news flows in the recent past, but looking at the way the government has settled down, volatility would reduce to a certain extent. And there are people who actually feel that the markets are expensive, like myself, and have been booking profits, whereas there have been a lot of people who are chasing momentum. So this volatility is going to continue, but it will be lower than what we saw recently.
Inflows into equity mutual funds hit a record $4.2 billion last month. That despite the poll-linked volatility which whipsawed markets in May. The flood of domestic money meaning any pullback has a short shelf life. And this also contrasts with bearish bets by foreign investors who remain net sellers of more than $5 billion this quarter. Riding high on the introduction of AI in Apple products, it looks like the tech giant has hit a rough patch. The tech company is facing a proposed class action lawsuit. Apple has been accused by 2 female employees of gender discrimination. The lawsuit has been filed in San Francisco State Court by 2 longtime Apple employees. It is alleged that over 12,000 female Apple employees were paid less than their male counterparts, even though the male employees were hired at the same corporate level as the female employees. Moreover, the complainant claiming the company consistently underpays women in its engineering, marketing, and Apple Care departments. As per the complaint, Apple determines starting salaries based on previous jobs' earnings or the pay expectations of the employees. Do note that the state of California has banned employers from asking job applicants about their salary history to prevent pay gaps based on sex and race. Apple's performance evaluation system has also come under fire. It has been accused of being biased against women. And that's not all. The complainants added that while Apple does reward its employees, it considers talented with higher pay. These grants, however, it is alleged, are mostly given to male employees. Meanwhile, the tech giant has denied the accusations. Apple has put out a statement saying it is committed to inclusion and pay equity. Apple's statement says, and I'm quoting, "Since 2017, Apple has achieved and maintained gender pay equity, and every year we partner with an independent third-party expert to examine each team member's total compensation to ensure that we maintain pay equity." While Apple is considered one of the most prestigious tech firms in the world, women in tech are not surprised by the lawsuit, as per reports. According to Census Bureau data, in the US, a woman employee earns just 84 cents for every $1 earned by a male employee. Meanwhile, in Europe, women in tech earn 26% less than men. Although the tech industry is growing leaps and bounds, the issues related to gender pay disparity remain at the forefront of it all. And it is high time that companies invest in gender sensitivity training, maintain workplace transparency, and most importantly, keep their communication line open to all. Pakistan's Finance Minister Mohammad Aurangzeb has reported positive progress in talks with the International Monetary Fund. These discussions are crucial as Pakistan seeks a bailout loan ranging from $6 billion to $8 billion to avoid an economic default.
IMF का जैसे आपको इल्म है कि वो मिशन यहाँ से होकर गया है उसके बाद.
As you all know, the IMF team was recently here. Our virtual discussions have continued with them after that, and the submissions in connection with the budget during our discussions with them are there in the budget. All I can say at this stage is that the progress in our talks with them so far is positive. We cannot say anything final at this moment because until there is a staff-level agreement, I cannot say anything with finality other than the fact that our talks with them so far are going in the right direction.
Other than the fact कि अभी तक जो हमारी बात हुई है वो मुनासिब सिमत में जा रही है.
Aurangzeb presented Pakistan's national budget for the upcoming fiscal year, which extends through June 2025. The budget sets an ambitious tax revenue target of 13 trillion rupees, approximately $46.66 billion.
ये जो 60 से 80 रुपए की तजवीज़ है, पहली बात तो ये है.
The first thing is that this proposal of a 60 to 80 rupees increase, we are not going to levy it in one day. If there is an increase, it will be a gradual one during the next fiscal year. Along with that, we will also be monitoring international oil prices and will carry things forward according to that, to decrease the additional burden as much as possible. We are going to monitor it in a way that it is phased, and we will also link it with international oil prices.
तरीके से इसको मॉनिटर करेंगे. पहले तो ये है कि इसको फेज इन करेंगे और दूसरा इसको लिंक इन करेंगे with international oil prices.
And this target, by the way, represents a nearly 40% increase from the current year. The proposed increase includes a 48% rise in direct taxes and a 35% hike in indirect taxes over revised estimates for the current year. Additionally, non-tax revenue, including petroleum levies, is projected to surge. In response to questions about the proposed petroleum levy increase from the current limit of 60 rupees per litre to 80 rupees per litre, the finance minister stated that the increase would be implemented gradually in alignment with international oil prices. This measure is part of the government's broader strategy to boost revenue and secure financial stability. The Earth's inner core is slowing its rotation. Scientists have revealed this significant change, raising questions about its potential impact. Our next report getting you the complete story. Take a look.
Deep underneath our feet, the Earth's core is a realm of extreme heat and pressure. The inner core, a solid iron-nickel sphere about the size of the moon, rotates within liquid outer core. This rotation is crucial to sustain our planet's magnetic field that shields us from harmful solar and cosmic radiation. But a startling revelation has emerged about the Earth's core. The solid iron heart that powers our planet's magnetic field has begun to slow its relentless spin. For decades, scientists believed the inner core rotated faster than the surface. But a new study has now shattered this long-held assumption, revealing a dramatic shift in the core's behavior. Recent findings published in Nature by scientists from the University of Southern California show that the inner core's rotation is slowing since around 2010. This shift could have implications for the planet's magnetic field and even the length of our days. While the implications of this change in the inner core's rotation remain speculative, scientists theorize it could alter the length of a day by a fraction of a second and potentially impact the Earth's magnetic field that shields us from harmful cosmic radiation. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Time now to go back to the age-old question, are we alone in this universe? Let me tell you what a recent study claims. It says that aliens could be living among us. What does that mean? What does the study say? What are the implications? Our next report getting you the details.
For long, humanity has held the cosmos to be the final frontier, with astronomers and scientists scouring the heavens for telltale signs of life beyond our blue planet. For millennia, human beings have looked at the stars pondering whether we are alone in the universe. From ancient myths to modern science fiction, our fascination with the possibility of extraterrestrial life has endured. Now, a recent study from Harvard University's Human Flourishing Program has reignited this cosmic curiosity with an astonishing proposition. The aliens may already be living among us, disguised as humans. The intriguing hypothesis suggests that UFO sightings might be more than mere optical illusions or misidentified mundane objects. Instead, they could be evidence of intelligent beings stealthily operating on our planet, perhaps even walking among us in disguise. The researchers envision a range of possibilities, each more captivating than the last. Could these entities be time travelers from Earth's future, seeking to observe their ancestral past? Or might they be the descendants of an ancient, highly advanced human civilization, preserving their legacy in secrecy? The Harvard study on aliens has raised eyebrows, with its startling conjecture that intelligent dinosaurs may not have perished millions of years ago, but evolved into a sophisticated underground society hidden from our view. As far-fetched these speculations may be, they underscore the vast unknown that still surrounds us. The hypothesis is also likely to fuel the debate as we seek to find our potential extraterrestrial neighbors. Bureau Report WION World is One.
Polar bears are on the verge of local extinction due to starvation in Canada's Hudson Bay. An international team of scientists says that this can happen by mid-century if global warming exceeds the Paris Climate Accord limits. Climate change has sharply increased the number of days where Arctic sea ice is too thin for the polar bears to hunt seals, and that forces them to spend longer stretches ashore without their main food source. 3 of the world's remaining 19 polar bear populations live in and around Canada's vast Hudson Bay that connects the Arctic and Atlantic Oceans. Researchers, in fact, say that if temperatures rise to 2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial levels, the resulting ice-free period will simply be too long for many bears to survive. The lead author of the study saying that bear populations in southern Hudson Bay, where it takes longer for the winter ice to return, will be the first to go.
Basically, our study shows that if we exceed 2 degrees Celsius of global warming, that is going to be very difficult for the bears in the southern and western Hudson Bay to survive because the fasting period is just going to get too long. And in many cases, it's going to start to exceed 180 days per year. And they're already fasting for 4 months out of the year, but to go another 2 months is going to really put a lot of stress on those animals.
The study says that longer ice-free periods in Hudson Bay were already impacting polar bear breeding. This means their extinction locally may already be inevitable. Other research has found Hudson Bay's bears are trying to adapt to longer periods on land by finding other food, but cannot match the calories of their normal marine diets.
There's been a lot of discussion too, could they not just switch their food source to something else if they're stuck on land for a long time? The problem is that the fat content in the ring seals is really what they need. And if they were to try to hunt a caribou, for example, or eat birds, it doesn't give them the fat content that they really need to survive and reproduce.
The ICC T20 World Cup is not the only global sporting event that will have sports fans glued to their television sets. Football's European Championship, or the Euro, kicks off later today in Germany, and the 17th edition of the Euros will take place across 10 cities in Germany, from Hamburg in the north to Munich in the south and Dusseldorf in the west to Berlin in the east. One of the most atmospheric footballing nations in Europe will hope the rest of the continent in its symphonic stadiums for a month. Will be hosting it. Let's now take you through the teams for now. Three-time champions Germany are in Group A and are the favourites to win the group. Scotland, Hungary and Switzerland will fight for the remaining one qualification place from the group. Group B is this year's proverbial group of death, with three-time winners Spain drawn alongside Croatia, reigning champions Italy and Albania. Perennial favourites England headlining Group C, which also includes Slovenia, Denmark and Serbia. Poland, the Netherlands and Austria are in Group D along with France, one of the pre-tournament favourites. Belgium, Slovakia, Romania and Ukraine form Group E. Three former champions, Portugal, Turkey, the Czech Republic are in Group F along with debutants Georgia.
It's a competition that is very complicated for me, more complicated than a World Cup. Even though there is so much pressure at a World Cup, the stakes take over a lot of it. It's difficult to answer, but if you talk about level, it's difficult because all the squads here know each other. We're used to playing against each other all the time, so tactically it's similar soccer. It's very difficult. From the group stages itself, it's extremely difficult.
At any major tournament, refereeing and VAR decisions often make the headlines. More often than not, fans and spectators are left bemused by those decisions. To bring more clarity to the process and also make it less error-prone, UEFA has announced that VAR decisions will be broadcast on the giant screens in stadiums, while semi-automated offside technology will also be used at the tournament.
We are doing this not for the referees, not for the UEFA referee committee. We are doing this for football. We are doing this for the image of the game. We are doing this for for the young players, young referees, for the image of football. Only for this.
While it will be the first time VAR decisions will be explained on giant screens inside the stadiums, Euro 2024 will mark the last time we see some of the superstars representing their countries at a major tournament. Germany's 2014 World Cup winning midfielder Toni Kroos will quit all football after this tournament. With the FIFA World Cup still 2 years away, Kroos' longtime midfield partner at Real Madrid, Luka Modric, may also represent Croatia for the last time at a major tournament. France's all-time top scorer Olivier Giroud is also set to retire from international football after Euro 2024. Portugal captain Cristiano Ronaldo is 39 years old, but the 2016 Euro winner is showing no signs of stopping. Ronaldo enters his 6th European Championship in fine goal-scoring form. He scored 50 goals for Al Nassr, remember, in the Saudi Pro League last season, and has recently admitted that he does not have many years of football left.
Let's see. As I said in the last game, it's step by step, live in the moment, be calm. If you work well, as we have done so far, I believe that it's possible. The dream must always be alive, and it's game by game. You have to be calm, and we know it's a short competition. but I think the team is very prepared.
Are you a Bridgerton fan? Is your weekend plan to binge watch the last 4 episodes of the new season? If yes, our next story is for you. Take a look.